All right, good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us here for our information session all about CBe-learn Junior High. My name is Monti Tanner. I use he, him pronouns, and I am the assistant principal of the junior high program. Now, I'm thrilled to be joined this evening by a few of my colleagues. I've got our principal, Mr. Klukas, is here. I've got a couple of my learning leaders. I've got Bella. I've got Lisa. I've got a couple of my teachers as well. I've got Ken and I've got Michael joining us. So thank you all very much for being here. Appreciate you taking the time to be here and to join us tonight. For everyone here, thank you for spending the next half hour or so with us. I will go through a number of items. Some of it's going to be at a breakneck speed, but fortunately, you will have access to this presentation. You will have access to the recording, and you'll always have access to me, and I can answer any of your questions. We're going to look at an overview of CBe-learn. We're going to talk about learning online and what that means, what that looks like in our context. We're going to talk about synchronous learning, asynchronous learning, and in-person learning. We have a special section that focuses on art and CTF, which is Career and Technology Foundations, and also talking about health and phys ed. We'll talk about some of the fun things that we offer as far as clubs and events that we have. We'll go through a weekly work schedule and talk about the daily and weekly rhythm. Second part of the presentation really goes into planning out a workspace, things that families, parents, guardians need to help out with, parent logins, attendance reporting, and number one thing that we like to talk about, communication, communication, communication. We'll talk about what a standard typical week might look like for your students, and you'll have the opportunity to meet all of the teachers. So CBe-learn Junior High, we offer a full complement of junior high courses for full-time online learners. So students have the opportunity to experience a different learning structure with subject area specialists teaching each of the core curricular areas. So what does that mean? What does that mean? That means that we are actually a lot more like a traditional brick and mortar junior high school than you might think. Every student is assigned to a homeroom class. They are grouped with other students in their same grade. So grade sevens with sevens, eights with eights, and nines with nines. And those become their peers for the duration of the school year. Students receive instruction and support in the full Alberta English or education program of study. So English language arts, math, science, social, phys ed, health and life skills, career and technology foundations, and art. So students do get the full meal deal like they would in any other environment. Now, our courses are hosted within Brightspace by D2L, the learning management system, but our teachers also use Google Workspace for a variety of things, including Google Meet for live sessions. So if you have students that are maybe in the CBe-learn elementary program, they're not quite yet familiar with D2L. If you have students that have attended another CBe school for junior high, they might be familiar with it, but that doesn't matter. When your students come in, we're going to show them how to use D2L and how to be an online learner. Our courses run from September to June, split into 2 semesters, September to January and February to June, just like a traditional school. All core courses are full year commitments. So that means that students from September until June have all of their core academic courses. All students move through the course content as a cohort. So like those groups that I had mentioned, sevens with sevens, eights with eights, nines with nines, those students will move through as a cohort, which means that they're not permitted to accelerate or finish their courses early or in one semester. So let's talk about synchronous and asynchronous. So we use both synchronous and asynchronous activities to support student learning. So synchronous learning, it's real time with the teacher using Google Meet. It's a lot like what we're doing right now. unless you're watching the recording. But if you're watching this live, that's what we're doing. We're doing some synchronous learning here. So things like video conference, like a live chat, live streamed videos. What this allows for is instant feedback and clarification. It means all students are learning at the same time. Communication happens live in real time. All of our courses have synchronous sessions offered through Google Meet. They're interactive, they're live, they're in real time, they're not saved, they're not archived for students to review later. We think that this is really important for students to be able to have that interaction live with their teacher. So on the other hand, we have asynchronous learning. This is the student on their own, typically at home. Sometimes they're in another school setting, but they're typically at home and they are using D2L. So examples of this would be a recorded video, a blog post, a discussion that might go back and forth. So there might be some interaction in there, might go from one student to the next, teacher posts something to the next student to the next, but it's not in real time. So that's asynchronous. Information is available at all times. So that means 24/7, that information, that material is available, which allows students to have some flexibility. They can learn at various times throughout the day. This allows them to work it with their schedule. So for example, if we have students that are high performance athletes that are in an athletic program, they might not have the opportunity because they're out on the ice in the afternoon. So that means that their evenings and weekends are full of their asynchronous learning. All students are expected to participate in all asynchronous class activities like discussions, assignments, projects. We also expect that they complete all assessment pieces, including quizzes and tests. Students in grades 7 to 9, our junior high program, are required to complete most of their work in an asynchronous manner. That means course material is available to students all week long. Students must make the most of their asynchronous learning time. One thing that's really awesome that I love about our program that you might not be expecting is that we actually have a lot of in-person opportunities. So we have social events, we have field trips, we do some in-person tests and exams, we do some physical activities, things of that nature. Health and phys ed field trips occur often informally, formally. Sometimes they can be about once a month. Typically, this takes place during instructional time. So we're not looking at evenings and weekends. This is during instructional time during the day. Now, parents are responsible for transportation to and from whatever venue that is. So if it's at the climbing center, if it's at the canoe club, parents are responsible for that. We don't provide busing, we don't provide transportation. Some of the field trips, some of these activities do have nominal fees. Those can be paid through the My CBe or PowerSchool app, just like in any other school. Now, there might be some opportunities for in-person assessments, which means a test or a quiz or an exam that the student actually comes in and completes that. So, for example, our grade 9 students, starting up just over a week, have some of their grade 9 finals, their provincial achievement tests. They will be writing those in person at our Windsor Park location. So sometimes we have students at Windsor Park, sometimes we have students at Lord Shaughnessy, but that's where we can do some of that in-person assessment. Social events, field trips, and any in-person activities are communicated with families well in advance of the activity because we know that you're busy, we know that you have a lot on your plate, and we know that you want to fit this into your schedule. Hey, let's talk about art and CTF. So these are mandatory courses, follow the Alberta Program of Studies. And at CBe-learn in our junior high program, all students take 2 art and 2 CTF courses every year, which means that there's 4 courses in total. So in grade 7, students are rotated through a variety of art and CTF courses. So we've picked for them a couple art courses, a couple career courses. They rotate through those, doing a number of different projects throughout the year. Now, in grade 8 and 9, students actually get some choice. And so they get to pick two art courses and two career and technology courses. So for art courses, here's a pick of what we have. We've got animation, comics, we've got digital art, drama, which is so much fun. I actually had the opportunity. One of our teachers was ill, and I covered off, subbed in her class for the drama class. It was so much fun. We've got drawing, we've got painting. So some of the typical experiences you might think when you think of art. Career and Technology Foundations, we've got some really great modern courses that we've put in place. 3D design, we've got coding, we've got fiber and fashion, we've got foods, which is also very popular. Students have a lot of fun and really enjoy that class. We've also got graphic design and photography. Now, depending on the semester, depending on the teacher availability, sometimes these courses are offered multiple times. Sometimes they're offered once a semester. Sometimes they're offered a couple times throughout the year. What we do the very first week of school when we're back with students is we actually have the grade 8s and 9s fill out their pick list. So they pick basically their top 1, 2, 3, and 4 choices. We've done a very good job of getting students into their top choices for the most part. And students love it. Students enjoy these classes. This is kind of the heart and soul of what we all love about what we do. And our teachers, our art and our CTF teachers are extremely passionate and love the work that they're doing. The other thing I wanted to highlight is around our health and phys ed program. So, two sides to this. One teacher will teach both parts of this. They will teach the health and life skills. They will teach the physical education. So, the health and life skills enable students to make good, healthy choices and manage and regulate their behaviors. There is one component to this, which is a human sexuality component. Like in all schools within the CBe, parents do have the right to exempt their child from this instruction. And so we provide alternate learning experiences for anyone that's been exempted from that. In phys ed, students meet at least twice a week online for their Google Meet. They might meet when this year it was Wednesday and it was Friday when they met with their teacher. In addition, we're looking for students to participate in at least 30 minutes of daily physical activity. And so those are the sorts of activities that you as a family would be organizing and helping your student with. Some of the formal and informal field trips and activities that we have coming up for next year. We've got bowling, we've got dragon boat racing, we've got floor curling. We're doing some obstacle course, an indoor obstacle course, so a couple hikes throughout the city of Calgary, wall climbing, rock climbing, etc. So a lot of really fun and really diverse activities that students really enjoy participating in. One thing that's really taken off this last year is some of the clubs and some of the different events that we've done. So these are optional opportunities for students. This allows them to connect with each other outside of their traditional classroom time. And all of these clubs that you see listed here, all of these clubs were suggested by students. So we've got an art club, we've got a cooking club, we've had a GSA, we have something really cool called Hacker Gal, Math Time Club, Minecraft Club, and even a writing club. And these were all suggested by students. And they reached out to their teacher. They said, "Hey, I'm really interested in this topic." Teacher sponsor said, "Yeah, I'm interested too." And they meet sometimes once a week, sometimes once every 2 weeks to have those online meetings. Some of the events that we've hosted, I mentioned some of these bowling, rock climbing, wall climbing. Some of the other great things that we've done in our art classes, we've actually done an art gallery. Next year, a couple of the English teachers and I were going to Theatre Calgary with some of our English students. In December, we host a social event at the end of the calendar year. In the spring, we host a dance, and we're getting ready coming up for our June end of year celebration. It's actually just in about 9 days from now. We combine a number of things on that day. So we have some phys ed activities, we have a field day. We actually do a little bit of a celebration and ceremony for our grade nines that are leaving us. And then we have a barbecue, fun and games, and a picnic style entertainment that we do at the end of the year. So we like to have lots of different opportunities for our students. So again, things that you might not necessarily think of from an online school, but we know how important it is to try and bring everyone together for these events. Now, here is a sample of what a weekly work schedule might look like. So, as you can see, it is very clearly marked that this is a sample schedule only because we are always trying to make changes and we're always trying to update things. For example, looking at next year, we know that our grade sevens have a very different profile and different needs from our grade nines. Therefore, we're thinking that we might actually have a slightly different schedule for our grade sevens than our grade nines. It might give the grade sevens a little bit more opportunity for more synchronous time with their teacher. It might give the grade nine students a little bit more independence and flexibility. So it won't be this exact schedule, but it might be something similar to this. So what you'll see is in marked in green at the very beginning of the week is when we have homeroom. So I had mentioned that our students are in a congregated homeroom with a grade sevens with sevens, eights with eights, and nines with nines. That'll be a fairly small size class between, I don't know, 12 and 18 students in that group together. They meet the very first thing of every week and they go through their schedule for the week and they talk about the assignments, the activities, what's coming up, what's due, and what they have to focus on. The next thing that you'll notice during that day is you'll see three blocks of science. Now, this does not mean that your student is expected from 9:55 until 12:30 to just be sitting in front of a computer being lectured at by the teacher. That is not what that means. What that means is that during that science time, that's when their science brain gets activated. That's when they are going to be getting some instruction from their teacher. They're going to be doing some work on their own. They're going to be working in small groups. They're going to be doing one-on-one work, but that's their science time. You'll see that's also repeated throughout the week. Tuesday, we've got math. Wednesday is social. Thursday is English. You'll see that sort of throughout the week. What you'll see after the lunch break in the afternoon is the opportunity for CTF, for art, for health, and phys ed. So again, your grade seven student, their schedule will look a little bit different than this. Grade eight will look a little bit different, and grade nine will look a little bit different. But this is a sample giving you that overall sense of what a week looks like. Last thing I want to point out on here is you'll see in gray, we have teacher office hours. So those are one-on-one opportunities for the student to meet individually with the teacher. We offer that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Every single day of the week, your student has the opportunity to book a one-on-one meeting with your teacher. Now, that can go a couple different ways. That can be the student that needs a little bit of extra help, didn't quite understand a concept, needed a little bit of a reminder, refresher. They'll reach out to the teacher and they'll say, "Excuse me, Miss Amanda, can I please have 10 minutes of your time to go over that one particular science experiment? I just need a couple questions answered." Awesome. It might work the other way too. Miss Amanda might recognize that one of her students missed a couple classes, didn't quite get something in one of the assignments, wasn't participating, wasn't engaged, and she might request a meeting during that time. But again, what I want to highlight is that those are available 5 days a week. Every single school day, your student has access to their teacher for a one-on-one meeting, just like what we're doing right now. Every family's different, every kid's different. I don't need to tell you that, but we do know that there needs to be some consistency there. So, for anyone that's new to online learning, it can seem like a lot. It can really seem like it's overwhelming, but we've been doing this for a long time. A lot of people think that maybe online learning is new, that it was a response to COVID, to the pandemic, but we've been around for coming up on 22 years doing online learning. And so we know what works, we know how to best support you, and we know how to help your kids out to make sure that they are being as successful as possible. What we ask from parents is to ensure that there is some flexibility and accountability built into each day and what that looks like. What kinds of conversations are you having with your child at the end of the day or at the end of the week? How are you checking in? How are you communicating? Such a key point. Communicating with the school, with myself, with our principal, with our admin staff, communicating with the teachers. What does that look like? Reaching out to the math teacher, to the English teacher, to the phys ed teacher. And again, that communication within your family, making sure that you're all on the same page. It is important for your students to have a secure and safe and comfortable and functional workspace. So it could be a personal desk, it could be a dining room table. It does need to be relatively quiet. It should be free from distractions. You want to make sure that you've got adequate light, comfortable seating. You want to make sure that it's organized, that you've got your planner, your papers, your pens, your digital devices, whatever you need, make sure that that is available. One thing we always recommend is that students do have a nice pair of headphones, especially if there are others in the household or if they have other students that are learning at home or family members that are working from home. That's always a really great investment. We also like to make sure that there's a little bit of space reserved for physical activities. As I mentioned, students will meet with their health and phys ed teacher a couple times a week, and to have some room for those yoga poses, those stretches, those jumping jacks, the different activities that the teachers will ask them. Now, the My CBE Power School app, it's kind of your one-stop online resource. You can see things like academic information, grades, attendance. You can see some of the learning activities. You can pay fees, request waivers. You can book school conferences. Anyone that is already a CBE family already has access to this. If not, there's lots of information that I can help share with you at the startup of the year of how to get access, how to log on, how to make sure that you can get all of this information. There's also a parent login for Brightspace by D2L. It's an opportunity to keep up to date with some ongoing learning, to receive updates. It's not great. I have to be totally honest. It's not great. It doesn't have a lot of the information that we would love it to have. So we always suggest and recommend the very best thing, sit down with your kid. Sit down with them on a regular schedule. Maybe that's a Sunday night, maybe it's, Wednesday afternoon, whatever your schedule looks like. Sit down with your kid, go through the courses with them, have them show you the work that they've done, have them show you the discussions, the activities, the work that they've had with their teacher. The portal is okay. There is some basic information, but there's nothing quite the same as actually sitting down with your learner to see what it looks like. Like any traditional school, we do take attendance. And so we take attendance in every single synchronous session. If a student is not present in the synchronous session, they will be marked absent. We have a form that you'll get a copy of that you can fill out if your student is going to be absent, if they're so ill they can't attend, if they have a doctor's appointment, if you're taking an extended weekend, something like that. We do have a form that you can fill out. We ask you not to call the main office. We don't have an attendance line like they do in other schools. That's why we put this form into place. But attendance really is important. What we find and what we know is that when students attend, they engage. When they engage, they learn. When they learn, they succeed. And that's where it starts. It starts with that attendance piece. Communication. So, uh, parents and guardians, you are going to communicate with school administrators and teaching staff through email. We don't all work on site 5 days a week. We don't have access to telephones or voicemail. Email is the way to connect with us. As we go through, if you have specific questions about online learning or about CBe-learn, I'm your guy. I'm going to be the one that you're going to reach out to for any questions about that. Specific questions about the course content, about something that happened in a math lesson, an assessment, a piece like that, would go directly to the teacher. And again, that is through email. Now, students are going to communicate slightly differently. Every student will have a private discussion with their teacher. Every class, every student has a private discussion. So this is a special place where they can go, they post their message, and only them and only their teacher sees it. So this is where they'll do an introduction at the beginning of the year. They'll share some of their work. They'll share some of their goals for the year. They'll share all of that in the private discussion areas. And we really encourage students to get in the habit of checking their private discussions every single day. There are some tools and techniques and intelligent agents you can set up so you get notifications, but it's always a good idea that students are in that really healthy habit of checking their messages every day. So at the start of each week, students should be checking the announcements on their home pages. They'll be doing that with their class in homeroom. During the week, teachers are going to work synchronously with students daily in at least two different subject areas. Every day, students are going to be working asynchronously on a daily basis with the schedule that they've established. And we always recommend parents and guardians should check in verbally with their children daily and through Power School at least weekly. We've got a beautiful team here. Here is our admin and leadership team. Of course, I'm Monty. Like I said, I've got Bella with me here. I've got Lisa with me here. Steve Clark is one of our other learning leaders. Our art and our CTF teachers, we've got Steve, we've got Craig. Health, life skills, and physical education, we've got Ken, we've got Shada. Our grade 7 team, we've got Andrea, who does English and social, also known as humanities. And we've got Liz, who does science and math. In grade 8, we've got Julie, who does English and social. And we've got Tash, who does science and math. Grade 9 set up a little bit differently, only because we end up usually with twice as many students in grade 9 compared to our other classes. So we've got Jillian in math, Barbara in social, Michael in English, and Amanda in science. My last piece of advice is to always bookmark, always go to our website, www.cbelearn.ca. That will keep you up to date with all of the most important information. It's got our principals message, it's got upcoming activities. It's even possible that you found the link to this session tonight on our website. So thank you all very much for being here. Appreciate your time. And I look forward to answering any questions that you might have.